Channel. I thought that was okay because it's like mainstream or whatever. So they just made me end my live. They didn't take it down, which is nice, probably because I only had a few minutes of, you know, of that superstition, whatever thing. So I really thought it was okay. See, I'm still learning. After 2 years, I'm still learning. Ugh. All right, I'm still learning. Ow. So, but I checked and it's loading, but they made me, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna read them and see what happens. I rarely get a copyright or anything. They shut you down. Yeah, they shut. Well, I turned it off right away, but they, I didn't know I had to end my stream. I don't want to delete it. But maybe I have to. You know? Okay. Oof. Let me see what's going on. What happened? Said at Elephant DK2. Well, it was the History Channel, but it was on YouTube. But I thought the History Channel, like the news, I thought it was okay. Do you know what I mean? To share that video. I love your emojis. Okay, so I'm back to reading. Okay, so the 13 bizarre superstitions. There we go. Wonder if, I can't see it then. All right, so the connections between humans and cats can be traced back to some of the world's earliest civilizations, most notably ancient Egypt, where cats were considered divine symbols. That light is so bright. I might turn that off and have just this one on, but I don't know. I may not be able to see. Oh, maybe I can see. But I don't. There. All right. So, where was I? Oh, okay. Cats also made an appearance, black cats, in Greek mythology, specifically Hecate, or is it Hecate? Or Hecate? Or who knows? Goddess of magic, sorcery, the moon, and witchcraft, was described as having a cat as both a pet and a familiar, a supernatural creature that assists a witch, according to European folklore. Written records link black cats to the occult as far back as the 13th century, when an official church document called Vox in Rama was issued by Pope Gregory. I think that's the fourth. Well, anyway, I don't know my Roman numerals very well. On June 13, 1233, Hecate, Is that how you say that thing back there? Hecate. Okay, good. That's what I said the first time. In it, black cats were declared an incarnation of Satan. Yikes. Says Layla Morgan Wild, author of Black Cats Tell True Tales and Inspiring Images. The decree marked the beginning of the Inquisition and church-sanctioned heretic and or witch hunts. Initially, it was designed to squash the growing cult of Luciferians in Germany. I almost said Luciferians. That's probably what it is. Well, anyway, in Germany, but quickly spread across Europe. Cats and witches seen as threats to early Christian church. Okay, what's going on with that? Oh, okay. Now, what's going on with this? I don't want to. Okay. In addition to their association with Satan, cats also became inextricably linked to witches in medieval Europe, according to Sarah Dwyn Fallingstar, Wiccan priestess and author of Broth from the Cauldron, a wisdom journey through everyday magic. Witches were the pre-Christian pagan practitioners of Europe. And speaking of Wiccan, I forgot about this until I just read that. When I lived in Waltham, Mass, in 1990, before I moved here in 91, my boyfriend, Mel, was into Wiccan. Yeah. And when I told my dad, who's a Christian, he was so freaked out, so alarmed. And I remember I didn't really listen to him because I didn't know much about it. And I was just like, well, it's harmless. I mean, it's harmless, but now thinking about it, I don't think it's so harmless. Myself, that's just my opinion. So my poor father, goodness. Okay, although the early Christian church in Europe, you live where now? You live where now? Washington State. I'm in Washington State. I've been here a long time. Although the early Christian church in Europe coexisted with witches as the church gained power, she says that they saw witches as their direct competition in gaining the hearts and minds of the people. That's when the church began hunting, persecuting, torturing, and killing witches in vast numbers. Witches honored the natural world, having deep respect for plants and animals. Affection between human and animal therefore began to be seen as diabolical or devilish, and the old lady with her cats became seen as suspect. But it wasn't only the connection they fabricated between witches and cats and the devil that the early Christians feared. They also saw them both as threats. Cats, like the women accused of witchcraft, tend to exhibit a healthy disrespect of authority. They don't fawn like dogs upon even the unworthy. In the church, neither independent women nor independent animals were to be tolerated. At some point, the pairing of witches with cats narrowed to black cats, although it's not entirely clear why that happened. The relationship between witches and black cats in particular is probably imaginary, but it is possible that black cats make better mousers since they cannot be seen at night and therefore have a hunting advantage. Witches do tend towards the practical. Eventually, the fear surrounding black cats and their association with witchcraft made its way across the Atlantic, courtesy of Puritan colonists. The idea that witches could turn into their familiar likely evolved from those accused of witchcraft having cats as pets. During the Middle Ages, it wasn't uncommon for cats to be killed, given their association with evil. That's so sad. Like, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew witches were. I did not know until this second here reading this that they were killed. Oh, good grief. Given their association with evil, some people even went as far as blaming cats for spreading the bubonic plague and used that as another reason to get rid of them. However, their ill-conceived plan backfired. Wow. What? Did you guys know this? Did anybody know this? That black cats were blamed for the bubonic plague back in the olden days. That's so weird. In a particularly bizarre piece of irony, the killing of the cats helped fuel the spread of the plague. With a reduced number of cats to control the rodent population, the disease spread rapidly. Wow. Origins of a black cat crossing your path, superstition. Given the belief in medieval Europe that the devil and witches were capable of taking the form of black cats, it makes sense that the superstitions surrounding crossing their paths developed. Therefore, a black cat crossing your path might very well be on a mission from a witch. Just as easily, it could be the devil in disguise. Wow. And no one wants to cross paths with the devil. This explains why a black cat crossing your path is considered a bad omen. This notion continued into the Renaissance, when a black cat crossing your path might have indicated that a witch had sent her familiar to do you harm. So the cat is called a familiar. I didn't know that either. For the witch, that is. Many fearful peasants of the day might have hurried to the nearest church and paid for a priest to bless them and rid them of any curse that might have been laid by the cat, as this was a source of income for the church. Such fears would have likely been encouraged. Interesting. But the idea that black cats are bad luck isn't universal. Some cultures believe that black cats bring good luck. Okay, I didn't know that. Their resemblance to the cat goddess Bastet led them to be, I think families can be any kind of animal. Maybe most common are black cats. Yeah. Okay. Their resemblance to the cat goddess Bastet led them to be honored in ancient Egypt. In other countries, such as Scotland and Japan, they have been known to represent prosperity. Apparently, whether a black cat is viewed as a benevolent creature or an evil supernatural force is entirely based on whichever lore one is likely to embrace. Interesting. Well, that's interesting. Now, while I'm here, because I found this kind of interesting, and it's literally right here. And maybe you guys have looked this up already. My daughter was curious. We have candy corn here. And she's like, what is it made of, Mom? And I said, I think it's like a frosting sugar corn syrup thing, right? So, since it's right here, right? Who invented candy corn? I have some in the black cat bowl dish out in the living room. Whether you like it or hate it, or just use it to decorate, you probably think of candy corn as a Halloween treat. But in the beginning, it was associated more with chickens than the spooky holidays. Candy corn's origins are a little iffy, but it seems to have come out around the 1880s. Wow. A time when candy companies were mixing up slurries of mellow cream and molding the confection into the shape of pumpkins, chestnuts, turnips, and other agricultural products. Farmers made up about half of the American labor force, and companies marketed agriculture-themed candies to children in farm country all year round. Enter candy corn, which featured the innovation of 3 hand-layered colors. Oral histories identify the inventor of candy corn as George Renninger, an employee at Wunderle Candy Company in Philadelphia. Wunderle, W-U-N-D-E-R-L-E, was the first company to sell these multicolored treats made of sugar and corn syrup, according to the National Confectioners Association. But it was the Goelitz Candy Company, Goelitz, now the Jelly Belly Candy Company, that's what it's called now, that really popularized the candy. In 1898, Goelitz picked up the recipe and started marketing the kernels as candy called chicken feed. That's because before World War I, most Americans didn't really think of corn as people food. Interesting. There were no sweet hybrids in those days. Corn was coarse and cheap and not very tasty, good food for pigs and chickens. It wasn't until wartime wheat shortages in 1917 that any but the poorest Americans would have considered corn flour, cornmeal, or cornbread acceptable foodstuffs. Boy, you learn something new every day, or at least I do. Even after World War I, candy corn maintained its association with chickens. Packages of Goelitz candy corn from the 1920s displayed a rooster and the motto, "King of the Candy Corn Fields." Interesting. In the first half of the 20th century, candy corn became a common penny candy. These were the types of treats kids could buy in bulk for very little money. Kids most likely thought of them as candies to eat year-round, then special ones to get on Halloween, which wasn't yet specifically associated with candy. Candy corn might appear at Halloween parties, but also at celebrations for Thanksgiving and Easter. Okay, I didn't know that. As Halloween became more and more dominated by candy, beginning in the 1950s, candy corn increasingly became the candy for Halloween. There was a dramatic spike in October advertising of candy corn beginning in the 1950s. Other kinds of candy were advertised for Halloween too, but they were advertised just as heavily during the rest of the war. Today, while it's easy to find candy corn year-round, the National Confectioners Association estimates more than 35 million pounds of the candy are sold every year. It's most prominent in October, when on the 30th, National Candy Corn Day honors the original chicken feed treat. Well, that's interesting. We have a National Candy Corn Day, the day before Halloween. Interesting. Okay. Now, on a darker note, speaking of candy, what I said in the beginning of my live about 6 days ago, maybe 7 now. Well, it's early here. I'm in Washington State. I don't even think it's 7. So, no, 6 days ago in Santa Fe, Texas, 3 different families had pin needles in their children's candy that was thrown out at a parade. And I didn't know there was so much of tainted candy and harmed candy even in the 80s, but apparently so. Um so hmm. Okay, so this is CBC. This is Canadian news, right? Oh my God, that startled me. The voice was so loud, it just shook me. It spooked me. I'm not even kidding. Oh my God. You guys, I'm subscribed to, it's called Scared Ketchup. Like the ketchup you put, on your burgers and hot dogs. I highly recommend it. It's made with AI. It's so funny. But if you're a Trumpster, you'll hate it. Otherwise, you'll think it's funny. Okay, so that was CBC, but it's Adam Miller, and I just don't know if I dare play that out loud. So it says 4 cases of tampering reported between 2008 and 2019. Okay, but none resulted in injury or death. Every year, reports of trick-or-treaters falling victim to tampered Halloween candy make headlines across the country, confirming concerned parents' worst fears. Okay, so that obviously was in Canada, the 4 cases of tampering between 2008 2019, and then this says every year. This one, yep, scared ketchup, you guys, it's flippin' hilarious. Thank you for putting that in chat. Every year, reports of trick-or-treaters falling victim to tampered Halloween candy make headlines across the country, confirming concerned parents' worst fears. Razor blades, sewing needles, even poison. Police forces across North America have reported cases of nefarious objects and treats for decades. There have been 4 cases of suspected tampering related, okay, I already said that, between the 2008-2019, April and October. 2 of those cases were referred to local police, but the CFIA said no illnesses or deaths were associated with them. Tracking incidences of candy tampering is difficult for police, as such behavior generally falls under the criminal charge of mischief, and no database of such crimes exists. How bizarre. I mean, that's just bizarre. You know, you've got these little innocent children, right? I mean, so many of us are addicted to sweets and candy. It's supposed to be a fun time. Good grief. A brief history of Halloween candy tampering. Listen to this. Halloween, a California dentist named William Shine distributed 450 laxative-laced candies to children, 30 of whom fell ill. He was later charged with outrage of public decency. What? An unlawful dispensing of drugs. That's it? Another high-profile case made headlines in 1964 when a 47-year-old mother from Green Lawn, New York, named Helen Pfeil, I know, handed out bags of treats containing arsenic-laced ant traps, metal mesh scrubbing pads, and dog biscuits. She handed out metal mesh scrubbing pads and frickin' dog biscuits? I just can't even believe it. These people, the way they drive around here, in this parking lot even, where kids are, but it's been raining all day, of course. It's rained almost every single day this month of October. And I don't mean trickling, I mean shh. But I like rain, and I like the sound of it. Okay, Pfeil. Okay, this woman, her last name is spelled Pfeil. Could be file, could be feel, could be pafeel, I don't know. She says she didn't mean it maliciously, but was annoyed by the Halloween custom, the Milwaukee Journal reported. She was later committed to a state hospital for mental observation. Wow. A search of the CBC archives revealed that the earliest Canadian case of tampering reported by the broadcaster was in 1968. That Halloween, the TV show, the day it is reported that Toronto police had discovered razor blades in Halloween apples. Wow. Video footage showed police displaying treats that were reportedly booby-trapped, including several apples containing razor blades, needles, and even poisoned candies. All right. You've got to inspect every single piece of candy. You need to tell your kids not to eat any before they get home and you inspect it. On a little news thing I'm going to show, this person that works for the police says even 16, 17, and 18-year-olds should have their candy inspected. And now we've got what? All this FEN crap going on out there. Thank you, Mary Jane Doe. Especially apparently in my state of Washington, and even this town has a problem with it. So here is a black and white picture. Oh my gosh. The needle in the top of the apple, the razor blade stuck in the side. It's actually really, really awful. This picture I just showed you were the razor blades and poisoned candy turned in for investigation after Halloween in 1968. That picture's from. Here's another one. Another oft-cited case is that of an optician in Deer Park, Texas, named Ronald Clark O'Brien. Now, some of you have heard of this, I'm sure. He handed out pixie sticks, candy, to several children while trick-or-treating with his 2 kids in 1974. His 8-year-old son, Timothy, died suddenly that night after consuming the candy, and an autopsy later showed the boy had ingested cyanide. Police managed to recover the poisoned candy from other children before anyone else ate it, but grew suspicious when O'Brien couldn't remember the house at which his son had received the candy. It was later determined he had poisoned his own son. He was convicted and executed for the crime in 1984. Hi, Susie Suze. Now we have another one. You know, it's just to bring awareness. It's not to ruin anyone's Halloween, but boy, I mean, you know, if you have like we have here, and again, I don't know if they still do it. I'm thinking they probably do. Banks and all the stores and all the whatever get together and you know, donate, buy whatever candy, and then you know, they give a whole handful to every person with their little basket or whatever, and at least you know you're getting safe candy. I did that the whole time with my kids. In 2017, an 11-year-old girl from Cambridge, Ontario underwent surgery after eating a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Halloween candy that contained a metal object. You guys, I never heard of these. All these horrific candy tainted and whatever stories. Police never found out whether it had been put there intentionally. Well, yeah. And then there's a picture, right? Of all the different kinds of chocolates and things people buy. Okay, so, back to the story with the father killing his son. I think that he had the brilliant idea that since this was reportedly so common, no one would ever suspect him of killing his son. He never owned up to it. He always professed innocence. But I don't count that as a case, because when people are sitting around worrying about this, they're not worrying they're going to kill their own kids. They're worried that somebody else is going to do that. What? What? One of the only known cases of someone being charged in connection with Halloween candy tampering occurred in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2000. I lived there when I was 20 for 1 year in Minneapolis. James J. Smith, 49, was charged with felony adulteration after 4 teenagers told police they received chocolate bars that were later found to contain needles. According to the Minnesota Star Tribune, one of the children was reportedly injured by a needle after he bit into a chocolate bar but did not require medical attention. This James J. Smith wackadoo was deemed unfit to stand trial. The last available update on the case was a petition to have him committed to a mental health facility. Wow. Okay, this is weird. On Halloween in 2016, the RCMP, Canadian Police, right, urged parents to throw out candy. The story of tainted candy, not the pixie sticks. That was a real thing, and they show a picture of him, not getting executed, but the families leaving. And I'll show you the little news thing. Is that what you're talking about, Mary Jane Doe? Because that actually really happened. Along with these. On Halloween in 2016, RCMP urged parents to throw out candy, described as an orange squared disc with a black center, after a child in Clive, Alta. I don't think that's Alberta. What would that be? I've been Googling because I remember reading articles about tainted candy on. Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, that's what they thought, but yeah. The child became ill. That candy was subsequently tested and found to contain no poison. Be vigilant. More reports of Halloween candy tampering emerge in Nova Scotia. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Health Canada urges kids to be careful when eating candies received while trick or treating, right? Because there are food allergies and sensitivities, right? It also encourages parents to tell children not to accept or eat anything that isn't commercially wrapped, and instructs parents to check candy for small holes in wrappers. Hi, ADHD. Mary Jane Doe didn't get a notification either. I mean, yeah, I mean, as far as poisoned, now the one in Santa Fe, Texas, that came up on the news 6 days ago. And I'll show you some more things. I mean, I remember in the 80s getting those popcorn balls, right? You know, from people's houses, and we ate them. Probably ate them right there on the way to the next house. of course, there's pedestrian deaths. Research shows that Halloween is a particularly dangerous holiday in one respect unrelated to candy: pedestrian deaths. I mean, I think you can get those little flashing lights and at least have them on the, do you know what I mean? Don't let your kids go alone. This person says, you know, don't let them go alone. Good grief. A study published last year in JAMA Pediatrics analyzed data over a 42-year period in the US and found a 43% higher risk of pedestrian deaths on Halloween night when compared with a week before or after. Wow, we found that particularly amongst kids aged 4 to 8, the risk was 10-fold higher on Halloween. So anybody who gets behind the wheel of a vehicle should really be conscious that Halloween of all nights is the night to slow down. And then, of course, because Halloween has all the parties, you've got all the impaired drivers out there. All right, now I'm going to show you the Santa Fe story. Just give me a moment here, please. Okay.
For most parents, but 50 years ago, checking candy wasn't a concern until a Deer Park man by the name of Ronald Clark O'Brien changed everything. O'Brien became known as the man who killed Halloween. KPRC2's Robert Arnold sits down with a man who spent decades researching the impact O'Brien left on the city.
John Ditmars was a young boy living in southeast Houston in 1974. He vividly remembers his parents telling his brother and him to throw away their Halloween candy.
The case has stuck with me ever since.
John Ditmars spent the last 2 decades collecting every piece of information he could on Ronald Clark O'Brien.
It was just unbelievable what O'Brien did. And to kill your own kid with cyanide and try to kill others too, make it look like a random job. It just has stuck with me.
If you're not familiar, O'Brien was the man who gave his own 2 children poisoned pixie sticks. He also handed out the laced candy to 3 other children. O'Brien's 8-year-old son, Timothy, was the only one to eat the candy on Halloween night, and he almost instantly started throwing up. Tim later died at the hospital. O'Brien claimed the candy came from a neighbor during trick-or-treating. Ditmars said the medical examiner then smelled the distinct odor of bitter almonds when performing Tim's autopsy.
He determined that it was cyanide poisoning and released his results. And then all hell broke loose with that this kid was actually poisoned.
Ditmars said Tim was given enough cyanide to kill 3 adults. Why did O'Brien do it? Ditmars said he couldn't keep a job, lived beyond his means, and was in massive debt. Police started receiving tips from those who knew O'Brien.
And a man came in and said, "We got a call from an insurance agent that O'Brien bought these 2 policies for his kids on October 3rd. And he was trying to cash them in."
Ditmars said O'Brien had also asked several people about where to buy cyanide in the months leading up to the murder. He never confessed, but O'Brien was found guilty of capital murder and executed in 1984.
Leading up to the execution, the prisoners on death row petitioned the warden to have a celebration of his execution. And that's highly unusual, but it actually happened.
Ditmars said 1974 was also the last year he ever went trick-or-treating. Ditmars said he is still considering whether to take all the research he's put together and turn it into a book. Live in the newsroom, Robert Arnold, KBRC 2 News.
All right, Robert, thank you. The Candyman was the focus of one of the original episodes of our award-winning true
Candyman.
crime docuseries, The Evidence Room. You can watch an encore presentation of that episode named The Man Who Killed Halloween tonight at 6:30, only on the KPRC 2 Plus live stream.
Good grief. Okay. Yeah. Is that MS0426? Hi, MS0426. Yeah, okay, give me a second again. Flippin' wackadoo. Golly. People are just so sick. Okay, so darn it.
To us that at least 3 different families found sewing pins in the candy grabbed at the annual homecoming parade. Thankfully, we know no one was hurt. Reporter Sherman LaSalle will break this all down for us here tonight.
This is the type of story that reminds you that there are people out there with bad intentions and they want to harm your children. Police in Santa Fe, Texas say that on Wednesday they got calls from at least 3 different households after the homecoming parade that they were finding sewing pins inside of their children's candy. We spoke with the Parton family and say thankfully their 18-year-old, their oldest child, found it first. They said the sewing pin was wedged in the flap of the candy bar. Imagine if a child didn't see that and bit into it.
This is my kid. How could anybody do that to kids?
Okay.
This is an innocent thing. Why would
Somebody
anybody
tried to do that.
so evil do that?
These pins were found in different areas along the route. Police haven't figured out who's responsible, but they're investigating. The message tonight on all this, please be careful. There are some local services that provide x-ray for your children's candy. Yes, x-rays. It's actually not a new concept. It's been around since the 80s, but for those who may not be into that, just inspect your children's candy. Make sure that you know what they're eating before they do.
Yeah, that's such good advice, especially with Halloween right around the corner. Sherman, thank you so much.
I never ever,
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, it's his job.
I never heard of x-ray machines for candy. Have you guys? I mean, let's be real. Never heard of that. Someone else probably has. So that was the mother that sounded the alarm. And I'm not going to play the video of her on Houston whatever. Houston 26 or whatever. That was her. And it's 10 minutes long, but you know, the 18-year-old went to grab the candy and eat some first and spotted that. Oh my gosh, really? Hi, Killing Time. Your police department x-rays candy? That is really nice. I mean, gosh. Maybe, I wonder if they do it here. I might even call them and try to find out. So yeah, that candy was parade candy. Literal parade candy. So I had to start up another live from the other one because it was the History Channel with the logo and everything. Maybe they used the History Channel logo and it wasn't the History Channel. I don't know. But I thought as long as you're playing news and someone else's, not playing someone else's YouTube stuff, you're okay. That's what I thought. So, okay, this was I'm looking for one more. All right, you guys, this is what I'm going to end my live with. It's Halloween costumes and celebrations around the world, and it's actually CBS News. So I really, really hope I don't get in trouble. I don't see how I can. It's news. This was from last year. But the costumes, some of them are pretty gory. Trigger warning. This is about 5 minutes long. That's intense. Germany. Yikes. I got 33 years ago. That was a lot at my door, 30. But I'm on the 3rd floor. And now we have the kittens. Good grief. CBS News. I better not get in trouble for that one. Okay, so can't see a cotton picking thing. Ugh. Yeah, I thought it was cool too. I saw it earlier, this afternoon when I was looking up stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. How long my hair is, you guys. Anyway, that's my show. And I don't get things kind of done earlier in the day, and it's creeping closer to Halloween / Harvest Day. And yeah, I am talking about it like everyone else will be on Halloween. Ever since we had the kittens, right? We didn't want them to be startled with all the loud noise. They're already going to be startled when they hear kids running by. But I'm going to put up a big piece of paper that says, sorry, no candy. And I'm actually going to turn off the orange lights on the deck during that time. I'd say from literally 6 o'clock to 9 or 10. Because they get startled easily. And the main reason is opening the door. One might try to venture out. You never know. And I don't want an hour to go by and, oh, gee, where's rain or tulip or sunshine, you know? Yeah. But thanks everyone for being here. If I missed saying hi to you, Sandra Ernest was in here earlier. Hello, Sandra. Thanks everyone for supporting me. Hi, Cat Swan. And saying hello and saying hi to each other in here, you know. Snack Pack is here. Hi, Snack Pack. Thank you. Thank you for all of your support yesterday, and the rest of you that have been supporting me, sticking up for Rude/Brood Awakenings by Another Creator to Sierra. You know, and I wish him the best on his channel and in his life and all of that. I have nothing against him or even his mod/girlfriend/wife. I've been told different things, right? Charming Jenna. But when it's over the top, it's over the top. That's all. And you notice she hasn't done a live in a couple of days. She's keeping to herself a little bit lately. She's hurt. And I wanted him to apologize, you know? I mean, that would mean a lot to her and me. And yeah, maybe someone else will learn by his mistakes. Better off going by what people say, not what people say about. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of fun. And I had another one I wanted to show that was the History Channel, but I got in trouble. If for some reason they take it down, the first one, and you don't see me for 14 days, then that's what happened. But because they just stopped my thing right then, I'll go into studio and see if they're gonna make me edit it. If they say you must edit this part out, I gotta just take that live down. The first one, which was, I don't know if it was an hour or 45 minutes or what it was. But anyway, thanks for being here. Please hit the like if you're willing to. Be about it. Don't talk about it, which is this. Be kind. Be kind to your significant other. Be kind to your husband or wife. Be kind to strangers. Be kind to neighbors. Be kind, you know. And here we go. Be kind. Thought it was fitting for today. And please sub up Sierra Queen Pin Clark. You know, she needs subs and she needs support too. So Mary Jane Doe, if you want to go ahead and put her link in chat along with yours, and anyone else that has a channel, feel free. And please subscribe to me if you get the chance. Thank you for my latest subs. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm getting closer to, not close to 4,000, but my goal is 4,000. That's what my goal is. So love you. This is Brood Awakening with PCT. I've yet to have coffee in the morning with you. It'll probably never happen. But I am sipping some coffee in my pumpkin glass thingamajigger. Thanks for being here. Love you all. Thank you. Thanks to the people in the Philippines on those totem pole things, clutching their arms and their legs and trying to stay on longer than the other ones. On Survivor. Bye for now. I don't know if you can still hear me. Examine your kids' candy. Don't let them go alone. Wear bright clothing. Don't let someone grab them inside their house. We're in different times these days, period. And tell them not to eat one candy till they get home. Bye for now. I know it's a good 5 days away till Halloween /